Sonny Bradley has moved on to pastures new. He's gone to join Wycombe Wanderers on loan until the end of the season in a deal which I believe is the best for both parties. Now, Sonny Bradley came to Derby County with a ton of hype from Luton Town after promotion to the Premier League, and ultimately, in my opinion, he never really found his footing in the first team. Obviously, it didn't really start very well with those performances versus the likes of Wigan and Oxford to start off the League One campaign, and ultimately then spent most of the season in the cold from Paul Warne and not really being given sort of a proper opportunity to push himself in our first team. Now, ultimately, we then got promoted. Sonny Bradley did have his part to play. And going into the Championship, I knew it was always going to be a tough task for him. And I spoke about it within the summer and even across the course of the last few videos where I believe that Sonny Bradley should have moved on then. Obviously, it all depends on bringing in new centre-backs and things like that. And ultimately, with the return of Jake Rooney, I think it makes sense to move Sonny Bradley on, because if we go to a back three now, we can use the likes of Jake Rooney, Ryan Niambi's nearly fit again. Erin Cashin should be back after the Cup game this weekend. So we're in sort of a position where it could be a really, really good situation for Derby County. Letting Sonny Bradley go now, a portion of his wages will be paid by Wycombe Wanderers. Not entirely sure how much, but that obviously gives Derby a bit more budget to spend based on what they are anticipating at the start of the season, let's say, because say he's on 12 grand a week, some of that will be getting paid for the next 6 months. And for me, I like Sonny Bradley. I think he's had his moments, but I just ultimately do believe that he's not quite a Championship player anymore. He came in to get us promoted back from League One. He did that job. He did it really, really well. And now it's time to move on for both parties. And for me, we're in a time now, and I've spoke about it a few times, that we need to be bringing in younger, athletic centre-backs. And you'll see in my preview video, I talk about for the Leyton Orient game, which I think comes out tomorrow. But you'll see in that video where I talk about letting the youngsters have an opportunity and things like that. And this is what I think opens up now for Derby County. Now, there is a lot of talk about the likes of Louis Barry coming in, the likes of the Polish lad who we made a video on this morning. I'm not going to try and butcher his name again, but he could be an excellent addition to Derby County's back four. And then you obviously then look at it and think you can bring Craig Forsyth more centrally. So it's one of those for me where we're in a bit of a catch-22 at the moment, where we have a lot of players who realistically, come the end of the season, should be moving on. The likes of Sonny Bradley, the likes of Connor Washington. And I think this move for Sonny Bradley is perfect. It gives him another opportunity at a promotion with Wycombe Wanderers, who are fighting high at the top. And in my opinion, they've come and got Sonny Bradley because of Caleb Taylor going back to West Brom. Obviously, Caleb Taylor's a player I've mentioned over the course of Christmas because I thought he could be a player who came into Derby County, but it looks as if he's going to stay at West Brom due to their injury issues. Now, I think on the whole, this obviously opens the door for a player to come in. We know that discussion is possible because Sonny Bradley, obviously, a registered player, is not under 21. So we're now down to 24 players in the squad, in the EFL registered squad, which in my opinion, we could probably go down to about 20 in this window if we don't bring anybody in. So you look at the conversations we're having about Louis Barry, the conversations about the Polish fullback who we're potentially bringing in. You look at the conversations for obviously Tom Curzon's a player I spoke about last night. And I think Derby County are in a good position to build a really, really strong Championship squad. The problem is it's about getting rid of favourites, and that obviously starts with Sonny Bradley. I don't necessarily believe Bradley was a favourite, but certainly one who Paul Warne brought off the bench more often than he probably should have, and in occasions where, in my opinion, I didn't necessarily agree with it. And I think this Sonny Bradley deal is excellent in a sense of we've now got an opportunity for Jake Rooney, Darren Robinson, obviously they're still at the club at the moment, Dan Cox, all of those players to sort of be in and around the first team and step up at a potential moment's notice for that centre-back slot. And I think that's excellent for the future of Derby County. We've spoke about it time and time again that we never really utilise our youth enough and then fulfil the money that we need from them. And I think this is an occasion where it certainly opens up that door. You look at the likes of Cruz Allen, Noah McAndrew, Dan Cox, Darren Robinson, Jake Rooney, all coming through and sort of in and around the edges of the first team squad. And I think with players like Sonny Bradley moving on, players like potentially Barkes and Connor Washington, there's obviously loads of talk at the moment about who could be moving, who could be staying, and I just think it's an excellent opportunity for Derby County now to give some of those youngsters the opportunity. Now, obviously, we've got to make sure we stay in the division. That is the first and foremost, and I don't believe that Sonny Bradley will have made 8 of difference to stay up this season. I do like Sonny Bradley, but I just don't think he's that quality anymore. And I do think that in future, what Derby County should be looking to do is go for those younger 22, 23-year-olds for the upcoming campaigns and the second half of this season. Obviously, we're already potentially bringing in Louis Barry, which I think is an amazing deal for Derby County. I think he's got 20 goals already for Stockport County this season. Yes, there is offers from clubs higher in the division, but I think when you talk about what Aston Villa are going to want out of it, what Louis Barry's going to want out of it, he needs to be playing football. If they want to sell him in the summer, he needs to be playing. If he wants to make a name for himself and to be able to go and play at Villa, then he needs to be playing in the Championship at a high level. And if he can come into Derby and put up 5, 6, 7 goals by the end of the season, I think that would be absolutely amazing. Obviously, I think for the most part this season he's played on the left wing, can obviously play centrally and on the right as well as in the number 10. So Barry's one of those players who could be excellent for Derby. And it's sort of like a ripple effect that we're facing now with Sonny Bradley moving on. Now people are thinking, oh, we're going to have a signing coming soon, which we might do. We might have a signing coming by the time we hit the weekend. Now I'm just going to go onto Twitter and check that nothing has been announced, because obviously we know what Derby County are like. Things can be announced. So let's go and check on DCFC. Have we announced anything? At the moment, we have not. The last tweet we posted was 16 hours ago, Sonny Bradley joining Wycombe Wanderers. And for me, the ball starts rolling. According to BBC Radio Derby, we're not in for Louis Barry. Now, I just have to make the point that over the course of the last 3 years, Derby County have done their business in silence. No one knew about Ebo Adams until about 2 hours before he signed. Nobody knew about... everybody wanted Sonny Bradley, but no one knew he was signing until he signed. You've obviously got the likes of Curtis Nelson, who came out of nowhere. Joe Ward came out of nowhere. We've got all these players who sort of had come out of nothing signings, and I think that's really good for Derby County and something which we can obviously build on heading into the future. Obviously, you'll be seeing this video on the evening of... I think it's the 7th right now, and we could have made a signing by the time you see this video, which means I'll probably push this video back, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. It's one of those for me where I'm really happy with the move to let Sonny Bradley go. I'm happy with the moves Derby County are rumoured to be making right now. I think the signing of Louis Barry is going to be a good one if it happens. I think the signing of Tom Curzons could be a really good one as well. And obviously you just continue to move forward with players like that, and it could be a really, really good second half to the season. You give the likes of Kenzo Holdmine a bit more freedom. Obviously Ebo Adams and David Ozo set to return. You've got Erin Cashin set to come back, Ryan Niambi. Is there a possibility Joe Ward could go out the door? Obviously, there's rumours of clubs interested in him. So there's a lot of opportunities for Derby County. Now, if you have not done so already, hit that subscribe button down below, turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in my next video.